Hey guys, it's Chandler, and I wanted to get back on here and to say thank you again from the bottom of my heart for helping me reach 300 plus subscribers. Words cannot describe how grateful and how blessed I am to be able to do this as a hobby and hopefully one day maybe turn it into some sort of career. I I never thought again I would ever get this type of success. I always see people, get these subscribers. I'm like, man, that'd be so cool one day to be able to do something like that. And I just thought it was really cool that people are willing to take the time to watch my videos, to like them, subscribe to them, leave comments. I've had so many wonderful people that I've met just through the power of YouTube, who have become really good friends, who have become like people that even though I haven't met personally, it feels like I've known them my entire life. And you don't really get that connection a lot with a lot of people, but I've been able to talk with people, been able to like reach out to them, and they've been able to talk to me, and we've become friends over this. And that's one thing I think is great about the internet. The internet obviously has some very evil stuff out there, but if we use it for good, we can definitely see the joy and happiness that it brings. I think that it's an absolutely wonderful thing. Everything that I do, as I mentioned before in my 200 subscriber video, is to help people feel entertained. And because entertainment, what it's done for me is help me with my depression and my anxiety and feeling not as worthless as I feel sometimes. And I really, really want to push that. I want to be able to let people know that I am a very open person. Like, if you ever need to talk to me, if you ever want to just have a conversation, again, about music, movies, video games, that I can be the guy that people can reach out to and feel comfortable to. I've had so many people do that for me in my life where there's like, please don't hesitate to reach out. And it has truly blessed me as a person with struggling with mental health. And I think it's so important to push that back for other people. And so you'll notice, like at the end of my videos after I react to songs, that I try to give a personal experience. If I can take the lyrics and apply them to myself, I'll always share a personal story. And I've actually had people reach out to me on my Instagram and tell me, no, thank you so much for saying what you said. It really helped me, and it really has blessed me. That I feel like that I'm doing the right thing with my life. And I don't know where the channel will go in the future. I don't know what will happen in the future with the channel. All I know is that I absolutely love what I do, and I love the people that I get to talk to, interact with. And it really is such a blessing to me to have this platform to hopefully share with people that mental health, depression, and anxiety is a very important thing and a very hard thing that a lot of people I feel like don't talk about. I want to be an advocate for those who struggle because I struggle myself, and I want people to know that there are ways to overcome those trials and tribulations in your life. And one of those things for me has always been music. And so, what I want to do here today is I want to share with you my top 10 metalcore albums. Now, these are just metalcore. All my favorite albums of all time aren't, all of them aren't metal, but these are my favorite top metalcore albums. These are the albums that I've listened to over and over that have impacted me, whether it's like to get up and go walking, to reevaluate my life, to help me think that I'm a better person, to overcome any kind of heartbreaks or anything like that at all. Like, these are the albums that I listen to frequently to help me, overcome any trials that I have. And I encourage you all to find something that really really makes you happy. Like, you really have to make it personal for yourself. If you can make it personal for yourself, you will find that joy again. You will be able to smile again. And I'm still learning that myself. And I'm still trying, and I'm still trying to be a better person every day. And so, again, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all who have subscribed to my channel. I want this to be definitely a reaction channel, entertainment channel, but I also want to promote that mental health is so important. There's a really cool quote, actually, from Demi Lovato. I'll put it on the screen here. It says, "You do not have to struggle in silence. You can be unsilent. You can live with a mental health condition as long as you're open to somebody about it." I think that's really cool. I really respect Demi Lovato for opening up about her mental health issues, and I know she's been through a lot. So again, if anybody needs to talk, my Instagram is always, it's always down below if you guys want to talk to me. But without further ado, again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart for the 300 plus subscribers. So let's go ahead and get into my top 10 metalcore albums of all time, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So before we get started with that, I do want to mention a couple of honorable mentions. Now, these are great albums. They're fantastic albums, actually. I couldn't find a place to fit them into on my list. If I ever do a top 20 or anything like that, or even like a top 15, these albums would definitely make it into that list. So I just want to give a shout out to Like Moss the Flames, Dark Divine. That's my buddy Kyle's like favorite album ever, and I love that album so much. I want to also give it to Breakdown of Sanity. Mirrors, that album gets me going all the time. It's such a sweet album. Check it out. Really underrated band. Believe From Within, Era. This is such a groovy, intense metalcore album. It's the definition of great metalcore. This might shock a lot of people. Periphery 3, Select Difficulty. I actually really like this album. The singing on it is fantastic. It's so good. I love that album so much. And then I want to give it to Parkway Drive, Horizon. So those are the 5 albums I want to give my honorable mentions to. Great albums. I listen to them often. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started with number 10. So at number 10, I'm going to put Make Them Suffer, How to Survive a Funeral. I actually am a little late to the party on these guys. I remember hearing their single Erase Me, and I was like, wow, this is really good. And then kind of like with Era's album, it just kept getting better and better and better with each single they put out. So I finally checked out the album, and I was completely blown away of how well it was. I actually, because of that album, I went back and I listened to some of their other music, and they kind of started off as more of like a deathcore band, but kind of then molded over into metalcore. They still have deathcore elements in their music, but this album is relentlessly heavy. They have so many songs on there that gets me up like every day, wants to go on a walk, helps me rethink my life. It's just really heavy, and it's a really, really good album. Like, it's weird how crazy like popular they got like with this album, and I'm really happy for them that they did, because this is when I discovered them. And seriously, it's one of those albums where I don't have to skip a song. It's so good, it's so heavy, and I absolutely freaking love this album. So check it out here, it's awesome. Again, number 10, Make Me Suffer, How to Survive a Funeral. Alright, so at number 9, I'm going to put Beartooth, Aggressive. I absolutely love Beartooth. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. I've mentioned it time and time again. Caleb Shomo is a person that I extremely look up to because all of his lyrics are really based on mental health or stuff that he goes through personally. Again, their album Disease is a great example. Every song on that album is about like anxiety, depression, not feeling like yourself, feeling sad. Like, that album has spoken to me in such a personal way that it actually has encouraged me to want to keep going and to keep trying. And then their new album Below just came out like a couple days ago, and seriously, their albums just get better and better and better. But what I really love about Aggression is that how it was just so powerful, and it was so just in your face, and there's so many songs on there that are so relatable to me that it really changes. It really made me have a change of heart. There's songs like Loser where I completely relate to that song, where sometimes I feel like I'm a loser, and that's just the way I feel sometimes. They have songs like Hated, like Who Knew You'd Be Hated For Who You Are, and sometimes we struggle with like self-appearance and those types of things. Aggressive was such a powerful album for me. All their albums are great, but Aggressive to me right now, Below might take that spot, but Aggressive as of right now is my number 1 Beartooth pick. I absolutely love that album. It's heavy, it's got a punk rock feel, all the riffs are like perfect. Everything about this album to me is great. So again, number 9, Beartooth, Aggressive. So at number 8, it's probably going to shock a lot of people because they're like, why didn't you put this album instead of this album? I'm going to put August Burns Red, Phantom Anthem. I love August Burns Red. Like, I love all their albums. Like, I think they're one of the best consistent metalcore bands out there in the game, and I think they're absolutely fantastic. And they seem like they're really cool dudes. The minute I heard King of Sorrow on Phantom Anthem, I was like, okay, we are in for a treat. And every song just kept getting better and better. Like Invisible Enemy. Dangerous is such a cool song. Quake. Generations on that album is actually probably my favorite August Burns Red song of all time. It's got the coolest breakdown in it, and it's just awesome. I don't know, this album just hit really hard for me. I actually do like it better than Messengers. I know most people are going to disagree with me on that, and that is A-okay. That's totally fine. But for some reason, I just love this album through and through. I think it's just an absolutely powerhouse of a metalcore album, and it's amazing. For me, I just feel like the material just keeps getting better and better. I think I really do. Like, they're just a great, consistent metalcore band. So again, Phantom Anthem, August Runs Red. Alright, so at number 7, sorry, I almost lost my place there. Number 7 is going to be the Ghost Inside self-titled. Now, you'll notice that a lot of these albums are fairly new. There are a few older albums on this list, but a lot of them are fairly new. Just all this music is just hitting the spot lately. It's awesome. It was a tie between Get What You Give. I was talking to my friend Kyle, and I was like, dude, what should I put on the list Ghost Inside wise? Should I put Get What You Give or the self-titled? And we both agreed that the self-titled should be on there. Get What You Give, my friend Kyle showed me Ghost Inside, and I got to thank him forever for that because they're one of my favorite bands. But the self-titled, of course, what can I say about it? It is one of the best returns ever in the metal scene. Obviously, this guy's been through so much, with the bus crash and tons of health issues, and them coming back swinging with this intense, perfect metalcore album, you're just like, wow, this is insane. There's songs like Pressure Point where I'm just like, dude, this just gets you pumped. And then every other song was like perfect, like The Outcast, One Choice. Oh, it's so good. Everything about this album is great, and I know a lot of people have probably listened to it here, but it is one of my favorite albums, mainly because what they've come from, where they are now, making this type of music again. I mean, I respect them fully, and I'm really happy that they're back, and I cannot wait to hopefully see them live one day. So at number 7, Ghost Inside, the self-titled. Alright, so at number 6, I actually talked about it in a video that I posted a couple of days ago on my top 5 albums so far of 2021, and this was my number 1 pick for that album, and that's going to be Era's self-titled. I've already mentioned it before, how much I think this album is a masterpiece. Again, I've loved everything from Drift on. Their older stuff I do like, but I really like JT as a vocalist, and so I really like when Texas July put out their album Bloodwork. I really like that album because of his vocals. But I really love Drift. I really love Neon, and then their self-titled is out of this world good. I can't recommend it enough. It's another album that I can listen to all the way through from start to finish. It is metalcore bliss perfection at its finest. It's absolutely incredible. Seriously, check it out. You will not be disappointed in it. So again, Era, the self-titled at number 6. Alright, so coming in number 5 is going to be Fit for a King, Dark Skies. I've loved Fit for a King for a long time now. I actually, when I went to go see For Today on their final show, their final tour, it was, I'm trying to remember the bands that were on that tour. It was Phineas? No, it was Silent Planet. Yeah, Silent Planet, Phineas, Gideon, Fit for a King, and then For Today. And For Today opened, Fit for a King opened for For Today, and that's when they were doing their, like, Slave to Nothing cycle. So they played a lot of songs from Creation Destruction and Slave to Nothing, and I was absolutely blown away of how well Ryan sounded live, how well the band sounded live. So I was like, I got to keep an eye on these guys. And then they released Death Grip, which was an awesome album, and then they put out Dark Skies, which I don't know anyone expected to be that good. I mean, I think people expected to be a good metalcore album, but I don't think people expected to be that good. It seriously blew me away. The production value, the choruses, the riffs, the screaming, everything about it works. Engraved is such a good song. Backbreaker, When Everything Means Nothing, Youth Division. I can go on and on about this album. It is seriously a perfectly produced album. It's got some great singing. Ryan proved that he's one of the best vocalists in the game with this album. And, I mean, it's a Christian album, so I definitely enjoyed that as well. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have to be good if it's Christian or not. But I just really appreciate the message behind a lot of their songs. So again, number 5, Fit for a King, Dark Skies. Alright, so coming in at number 4, we have Wage War and their album, Dead Weight. I love me some Dead Weight, man. I remember being so hyped for this album remember my friend Alex and we would talk about it all the time. We go on walks and just speculate what the album is going to sound like. I found Wage War actually through Heart Support. It was Cody and their bass player Chris. They were talking about how someone he knew committed suicide and how they wrote the song Young Blood, and they showed a little bit from their video of the song 21. So I looked it up. I was like, wow, these guys are really good. And then they had their song like Alive, and then they had The River, which of course is a banger. I was like, dang, dude, Blueprint is an awesome album. I was like, this is really good. And then when they announced Deadweight, they released Stitch, which was like at the time my favorite song ever. It's still one of my favorite songs ever. I was like, this is incredible. And that album blew me away. I think it's one of the best modern metalcore albums nowadays. I know a lot of people say it's very formulaic, but to me, it reminds me of like older metalcore, kind of like Killswitch Engage, that type of music. It has so many cool riffs on there, and everything about it to me just works. They have so many songs that just blow me away. They have a song called Never Enough that has a breakdown in the middle. It's so simple, but man, it hits so good. I know a lot of people listen to this album, and I know a lot of people did not like their album Pressure. I did like that album, but Deadweight has a special place in my heart, especially because I was going through some really bad heartbreak at the time, so that album really did help me get through that trial, so that's probably why it's so high on my list. But Wage War Deadweight, it's a great modern day metalcore album for sure. Alright, so coming in at number 3 is going to be As I Lay Dying, The Powerless Rise. Now, a lot of people think it would be The Darkest Nights or An Ocean Between Us, but this was actually the first album I listened to by As I Lay Dying because my friend Miguel was really into them, and he showed me their song Parallels, Anodyne Sea. All those songs are just like, wow, this is really incredible. It just hits, man. It's so good. It's like epic music. Like, if you need to get pumped up, this is the album to listen to, man. I know a lot of people again prefer some of their other stuff, but I really like The Powerless Rise. It's one of my favorite albums. It's super heavy. It's just super enjoyable to listen to. It proves that you can have good lyrics and heavy music, and people will love that stuff. And so they're one of the bands that I draw inspiration from when it comes to heavy music and also writing, like, you know, uplifting and emotional lyrics. So again, at number 3, As I Lay Dying, The Powerless Rise, one of my favorite metalcore albums, and I think honestly a timeless album in the metal scene. Alright, so coming in at number 2, this would have been my number 1, but of course we'll discuss that once we get to that point. But number 2 is going to be For Today, Breaker. I've loved For Today since I was in high school. A lot of the bands that I listened to in high school, I honestly kind of grew out of. Like, I still like metalcore and I still enjoy metal music, but a lot of the bands that I listened to, I'm just like, yeah, I don't really care about that anymore. Like, I've moved on to like other bands, and I'm not saying that they're not talented. I'm not saying that they don't have any skill. It's just I kind of grew out of them. But For Today is a band that has stuck with me since I was in high school. I mean, I've listened to these guys when I was like a freshman, and I've been listening to them ever since. Again, they are a very heavy Christian band, and I know a lot of people don't seem to really enjoy the lyrical content. For me, I enjoy it. I think it's really good. But and all their other albums are great, but Breaker was that one album. I was like, that, and what's cool is that Breaker was like my first album getting into metalcore. I didn't really like it at first, but then my friend Kyle showed me all this music. He showed me this album. He's like, dude, you got to check this out. You may like it. And I really liked it. I was like, this is like the first album that kind of got me into that heavier type of music, and I just love this album. I still to this day love this album. It's so good. It's heavy. If you have a really cool car with some subs in there, those bass drops are gonna make your car explode. It's absolutely insane. But again, number 2, For Today, Breaker, a classic Christian metalcore album, one of my favorites of all time. All right, so number 1, my number 1 favorite metalcore album of all time. What could it be? What could my number 1 album be? Killswitch Engage, The End of Heartache. You guys, this album to me is like an absolute classic. You know what's funny? I was only like, how old was I when this album came out? I was like probably in elementary school when this album came out, and I actually didn't get into Killswitch Engage. I was a little late to the party when it came to Killswitch Engage. I heard some of their newer stuff and I really liked it, and then I went back and listened to some of their older stuff, and obviously They are like the titans of metalcore. And when I heard The End of Heartache, the actual song, for the first time back like 8 years ago, my friend Jack showed me, I absolutely fell in love with that song. I was like, Howard is an amazing singer. I gotta check out the rest of this album. And every song on this album is like perfect. It is so freaking good. Take This Oath is probably one of my favorite songs of all time. Again, When Darkness Falls, Breathe Life. There's so many good songs on here that are absolute classics. And I know a lot of people will probably put this at their number one. To me, it was either this one or As Daylight Dies, but I feel like I have more nostalgic for this album. But my favorite metalcore album of all time is Killswitch Engage, The End of Heartache. I listen to it so often that even like my sisters and my family like know some of the songs. I listen to it like all the time. Seriously, one of the best albums ever made, and I love it so much. Alright, so again, I want to thank you guys so much for the 300 plus subscribers. I hope you had fun watching the video, giving off my favorite albums, my favorite metalcore albums of all time. Again, the reason why I did that is because I want to tie everything back into mental health. Music has definitely helped me keep this thing up here in check. And so I wanted to share with you some albums that have really helped me get through those hard times. Music is truly like a best friend. Like, it's always there to listen, and it will always give a message back if you allow it. You guys, your life is worth something. Even if you're struggling, if you've been through the hardest thing in your life is definitely worth something. And I'm learning that every single day. So again, I encourage you to find something that'll make you happy. It doesn't matter what it is. It does not matter what it is. If it's going on a walk, playing some video games, going to see a movie, listening to music, just those little things make a difference. And sometimes in life we're not going to feel fully better, but little steps will definitely help. And I promise you that. And I really hope you guys understand that I truly do care about all my subscribers or the people that watch my video. Even though I don't know you personally, or I don't know every subscriber that I have, I want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I truly do care about everybody's well-being, and I mean that sincerely. Thank you guys again so much again for the 300 plus subscribers, and until next time, I hope you all take care. Thank you again.